We're going to talk about some of the things that we heard from both Brent Venables and Ben Arbuckle, starting with Ben Arbuckle, because I think there was a lot of promising things that you heard from them and how they truly feel about this program. And who better to hear it from than from the mouths of the coaches who are putting these things into place. And of course, they're not ever going to talk anything bad, right? And so we don't want to get too hyped up on just hearing what they had to say without without really diving into it and taking a look for some of it by ourselves. But a lot of what they're saying is stuff that we keep on hearing building up to this point. And first and foremost, I thought a pretty good question. I didn't take down who was asking each question to, but I know a pretty good question was asked about the quarterbacks and specifically about the depth quarterbacks. And I thought that was really cool to hear Ben Arbuckle talk about them, because we've all been talking about John Mateer. We've all been hearing about John Mateer. We're all excited to see John Mateer, but I am kind of interested about the next guy up. What if something happens with John Mateer where we need that next guy, or even just seeing them come out on the field? That's really what I would like to see. And so it is kind of, you want to know what your depth is like for all scenarios. Maybe John Mateer doesn't pan out and we need to fall back on one of the backup guys. And not even that, because really the question was about Jet New and Whit Neubauer. So really it's more or less just about your deep depth at the quarterback position. And so Ben Arbuckle threw John Mateer in with that answer, kind of talking about how building up the confidence of the quarterbacks was his priority. I know he was mentioning stuff about how, when there's something wrong, he likes that as a learning opportunity. Hey, you did something really good here. Hey, that wasn't all bad. Focus on the good stuff you're doing and keep on building that up. Now we can keep on working on the things that didn't go right, but building them up and trying to and instill some sort of confidence in them. And I like that method. I'm pretty high up. I'm a kind of leadership at where I work in my day job. And, that's one thing that I have found in my leadership skills and trying to build those is that, the more that you kind of take in your guys and teach them and teaching them while trying to build up that confidence, that's usually when you're going to get the best out of your guys. And that's exactly what he's doing here. And I like to hear that from him. He takes those guys in, specifically with Jet New and Neubauer, Jet New and Whit Neubauer, try to say those two real quick next to each other. But he's trying to build up some confidence in those guys. And for one, that's making them feel closer and more connected with the team, feeling important, some sort of role on this team, because every single one of those guys on that roster does matter. And coaches will tell you that. Fans may not see it. Fans may not understand it sometimes, but they do. They matter a lot, and for many different reasons. What if some crazy scenario happens where we have to fall on Jet New or Whit Neubauer to come in? Hope that's not the case, because something terrible has happened. But, you have to make sure that they feel confident, good, connected, well with the team. So anyways, love to hear that from him. And, he was even talking about John Mateer and how he's been in the kind of prepping and being consistent with that, and even kind of getting, a lot of reps in, even when he's not. He's talked about how much he's in the building, and he's been in the building a lot. And so, you love to hear that from your new quarterback, but then also Mateer and how the biggest thing for him that he's loved to see him grow in is building connections, building relationships, and making this team his own. Literally, that's what he said. He says he needs to learn how to make this his own team. And so, make this team his own, really. And so, that was something that I liked to hear from Ben Arbuckle, is that he was kind of pushing for that, because again, he doesn't really need to learn so much with the system. We've mentioned that, how John Mateer mentioned that at media days. And so that was really fun for me to be able to hear Ben Arbuckle talking about that from his perspective, how he saw it from the outside. And, not only that, but also praising John Mateer's leadership, how he has been an incredible leader, and everybody's taken him in as that leader, and everybody's gelled with him very well. And so that's something you love to hear. You need those good relationships. You need to know who you're working with, who you're working for, and recognizing that the quarterback is the play caller. The quarterback is that commander. He's the general that's on the field. He's that guy that leads you into battle. And that's just the nature of the game. Recognizing that and coping well with him, finding a way to collaborate with him. That's extremely important. So, very fun, very exciting to hear that. And then even talking a little bit about his next level preparation, not even just preparation for this season, but Ben Arbuckle was even talking about John Mateer and prepping him and film study and talking about even including like breakdowns of NFL guys and all that, breaking down specific players. That's next level stuff. So he's prepping him for the big leagues right now, and of course that's going to bleed into what he's doing this season. It's not to just say, hey, skip over, don't focus on what we're trying to prepare for this season. That's not what he's doing. He's preparing him to, hey, we're going to start studying as if we are an NFL duo here, as I'm your NFL offensive coordinator and you're an NFL quarterback. That's how far into preparation him and John Mateer are going right now, which is great to hear. That means that the relationships are going well, the leadership is going well, the on-field product he feels is going pretty well, and to where he's moving into progression and building up, trying to mold him into a more mature and better player. So there's a lot of good things that I heard from Ben Arbuckle, but that's definitely some of it.